I got him on. I got him for $10.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah.
Cool.
Cool. Adam, how are you?
I'm very well, thanks.
Thanks for coming on.
Oh, my pleasure, brother.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, what got you to Radio Boise?
Oh, man. It's a long and winding story, but ultimately, my best friend ever since middle school, he was doing a show called Sonic Moon. He was doing it all night on Tuesday mornings, like late night Tuesday mornings.
Okay, yeah.
And I was out hustling, I was out grinding, doing a signage business at the time. So it was much easier to go out and put all those kind of real estate style signs out, and kept hearing this show play, love it. It was playing tracks that I knew that we loved mutually back in the day. And then one day he just came over and surprised me and was like, "Hey man, by the way, I've been doing a radio show. Would you want to do it with me?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "That was you, man. That was you the whole time." Like, no wonder I thought this person on the other end had like such brilliant taste in music, right? Like all my favorite things.
Is your best homie?
Is my best friend, He, all along. And of course, I heard them speak on mic and everything, but you know, it's when you never expect it to be that guy, you know.
You just hear the music.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I'd been kind of driving around being like, "Who is this guy?" Turns out it was my best friend since age 11, right?
Dang.
So
that's what's up.
Yeah.
So then you got into that. So then that got you to here, or was it more of just then he was working here and then you came with?
Yeah, so he was actually great. This was in the middle of the pandemic too.
Okay.
So he was great. He brought me on. He helped me get my feet wet. That was where you now hear Tree City 1 a.m. skits and our sketches, our comedy segments.
Okay.
So they all started on Sonic Moon. So Tree City 1 a.m. is actually a spinoff of Sonic Moon. Not a lot of people know that. So he brought me on kind of as a color guy, as the funny guy, you know, the character actor.
Play against the straight man.
Exactly. You got it. And because it was during the pandemic, it was kind of funny because I came in for a few weeks and was kind of shadowing him, learning how to run the board. And then they had a social distancing sort of measure put in place.
So what do you mean? So like you'd have to be here and then you'd have to be over there, or what was it?
So we adapted, and for probably the next 6 months or so, he would come to the station, and then I would sit at home and run things remotely from a couple different computers. And I would either be calling in as a guest, or I would be streaming stuff that we would literally just hold up a phone to some speakers on my end, whatever happened. It's always been a very DIY, very patchwork thing. Or I call it BAM, BAMN, and that's by any means necessary. You know what I mean? Like because it's all part of the magic of radio. You never know, and that's a cool thing about radio too. Is it's a lot more illusory, right? So sometimes it would be like running one computer that's playing the sounds of dogs barking while I'm like shaking chains and like metal on this side over by a mic, and then doing voices in between, using vocoders and using like voice filters to play different characters, and just having fun doing it, you know.
Do you like being like the guy that's speaking, or like being the host, right, or the moderator? Or you like being the guy that's like how we had for the interview with the 1 a.m. show on Sunday? Do you more enjoy like being the guy who's like programming, making the song list, stuff like that?
Kind of like more of a producer role or a performer role. I like it both. That's one thing I say, is like radio's in my blood. My father was a long-time Spanish-speaking radio DJ. I grew up around the stations. I grew up pushing speakers in and out of the back of venues for his like party DJ company. And so I was always around it. It was always in my blood, and so I enjoy both, because that is one of the beauties with Tree City 1 a.m. is it's an equal measure of production, technical, and performance, creative, and it's a lot of fun, especially with Bridges. That's the original Sonic Moon DJ's name, and then now with DJ Winkle, because there's that human element as well. And so it feels more like a game of basketball or something where you're passing the rock back and forth. And truly, one benefit from Sonic Moon was that I had such a low pressure and well-rounded, comprehensive training program, basically, on being able to handle everything and do everything myself. Yeah.
So you growing up, it just all followed suit to where you're at now.
Absolutely, yeah. Everything's accumulative, and it's one of those things. It's a great deadline every week to be meeting, to be coming with fresh flavor, something fun, something new, and you're totally immersed in the music scene 100% of the time, right?
Yeah.
So it's all my favorite things come together, and it's one of those things where you look back after a year and you're like, wow, like
I did all that.
Look at this body of work that I put together, and it's amazing. There's some things, in fact, I've been going back through recently to episodes I don't even remember. Right.
I feel that a lot.
Yeah. So like we're going back through now and we're archiving and cataloging everything ahead of syndication that we're going for, and ahead of what's coming next for the show. We got some big announcements coming out.
Is it more for like the website, you mean, and archiving it, or just like the radio segments, right? Are they also on Spotify too, or no?
Not yet, but they will be. That's part of what we're going to be rolling out here in the next month or two. Part of an all new format that we're doing. And one thing that's always been in the back of my mind, one thing that I always wanted to do was make this entire library available online in some capacity on some platform.
I like that. That's what's up.
Yeah, thanks, man. And that's a goal for me. It's been a lot of fun, and like I said, it's a retrospection. It's a retrospective process that, like, even I'm still finding pleasant surprises in.
Yeah, bro, that's super dope. The fact that you can, like you're saying, it's this whole body of work that you made yourself. It is a trade in and of itself to then do all these things that you then spend time with your family, your dad with. And then that you came to this point to where now it's your baby, it's your project.
100%, yeah. And I would be remiss not to also mention my brother, who has helped out with Tree City. He's an original Boise guy, but the entire time, the 3 years we've been doing it now, he's been based out of Seattle. So he's been helping with a lot of the skits remotely, and he is the secret star of the show. Like, I just kind of make things happen. I might be the guy on the mic, I might be the guy running the boards, but all the best content, in my opinion at least, comes from my brother, and he doesn't even know. He doesn't even know how good he is. That's the brilliant part of it.
Is it more that he's like doesn't go into that genre or what in that part of his life, or just more that he just doesn't want to like just do it as much?
Well, he's a rock star in his own right. He is a very left-brained thinking guy. He's a very high-level, prestigious accountant of all things.
Oh shoot! Okay.
And he's got some high-pressure jobs. His wife is a physician's assistant up there. They're both brilliant-minded people.
Dang.
But he's got a funny bone in his body that he doesn't even realize how brilliant it is, and it makes total sense because. Similar to my father, always having us in the station or always putting us to work at venues, etc. My brother was the one that all the way back in the early 90s, when I was way too young to have otherwise been exposed to sketch comedy, he was the one kind of spoon feeding me it, like late nights when it was just us in our room watching TV like kids did back then, network television. And so he's been there all along, kind of crafting and honing this comedic style and this sense of humor that I take for granted because it's always been there in my life.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
You didn't have to not saying you didn't have to go search out for it, but it was always there for you, and it was always something that you can grow with and learn about.
Right, and it's almost like our secret language in a lot of ways. When my brother and I used to sit down and we would play, there used to be a game, I'm not sure, it's probably still out there, Trivial Pursuit.
Yeah,
yeah, kind of like trivia cards, and sometimes you got to act out a scene or something like that.
Yeah.
In my family, they actually made a rule we weren't allowed to be on the same team anymore because it was almost like we were reading each other's thoughts.
You already just knew.
Yeah, we already just knew. We had reference points that we could make a single sound, and the other guy could guess what movie we're talking about, something like that, right? And so that's what I really love about Tree City 1 a.m. is just that we're having fun.
Yeah.
100% of the time. And it, like I said, it spun off from my friend's show, Bridges, who did Sonic Moon. He's still heavily involved with Tree City.
I love that.
My brother, who I've known my entire life, obviously, who introduced me to this sort of sense of humor, he's involved. And so it's still, to this day, like a weekly show and tell where we're literally just coming together on a Saturday, throwing our best jokes at each other and just trying to bust each other up, the best way we could. Yeah. And I love it that way. It almost works out that so much of it is done remotely, like we're hardly ever in the same room together. But it almost works out great because we get to surprise each other with stuff. Yeah. And I know on my end, at least, that is goal number one for me is if I can put something together that's making me laugh while I do it, and then send it off to my brother and get the thumbs up and bust him up.
It's not even the validation, it's just knowing that, it's good.
Yeah, and it's just like music production too. Yeah. I've done plenty of that too. And it's like when you're catching fire, you kind of know it. You kind of feel it, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so.
That's how I felt when we had the show on Sunday and I just did that song. Because I wrote that, like, I had that instrumental for, it had to be at least 3 years, like listening to it.
Oh, no way.
Like just off and on. Well, yeah, and it's like, I mean, people don't know this. It's a lot of my things are just, some of them are like, that same day I wrote it, cool. But most of it's like, I'll have that instrument and I'm just listening to it. It's not anything more of just listening to it. I'm jamming out. And then, you hit me up for the show. What was it, like Friday?
Something like that, yeah.
It was like a day or day before.
Right, yeah.
And then I was like, okay. And I was trying to record it. Like I went to Best Buy, I tried to buy a mic. I forgot they come with there. Now I got everything in my car, so now I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
But man,
the mobile unit.
Well, that's how it is with the watch stand.
Yeah.
And like the fact that we did it, I was like, oh my gosh. I stuttered. I know you know this. Like where it's like, oh, that wasn't right. No one knows. No one actually cares.
Right. Yeah. We don't know any better.
Yeah.
We're just like jazzed. Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's not only just the fun of it, it's the love of it, it's the passion we get to throw into it.
Right.
And it was fun. I loved every second of that show. It's probably one of my favorite things. And I'm glad you got my homie Storms on there.
Hell yeah.
Shout out him. That's a homie.
Yeah.
And man, I'm very excited for you guys for everything, not only that we'll collab with, but you guys will also do independently and moving forward in life.
Thank you, brother.
Because it is something that I think it's going to always be here. I think because of where we're at, it's always going to grow. It's always going to grow. As long as us as the artists promotes the radio of the station of 98.5, right? And 93.2.
89.9 and 93.5.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah.
And as long as we're doing that and the radio station's doing their end, I can't see why it wouldn't work.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Because like Charlemagne, Sway in the Morning.
Right.
And I think the only other thing is I think it just really is like the personalities. I think it's really it. Because I listen to it and I'm like, this is a vibe. Because the music's good. I like that we have like IZ, Conquest.
Oh yeah,
Conquest. Yeah. Oh, who's the other guy? You played some like guys that are older. There's some older cats
on your program. Might have been. We might have played some Mig Newman. We might have played some Mo Diggs.
Yeah. Andy O.
I think I slipped an Andy O track.
I love Andy.
Yeah,
He's one of the coolest guys.
Yeah, I love Andy too. Yeah.
He is a wizard.
He's a true OG of the Boise scene.
It's not only that. It's that he's just. It's so flowing. It's flow.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like water. He just fills the space in, and then he just like
goes hard.
And it's not only that he hits when he hits. He doesn't have to hit when like when it comes to hip hop, it's such a love, and I really appreciate that.
Right.
It's such a beautiful thing.
I think you're touching on a couple good points there too. Is first of all, that synergy that's existing in the scene right now, and the amount of talent that's existing in the scene right now. Like guys like Andy O and Earthlings Entertainment, they've been doing it a minute. They are truly OGs. They've been doing it, and they were pioneers in this town long before anyone was even at their level. That's why they're so good, is they're veterans. But it's still an exciting time to be here and to be in on the ground level of whatever is building right now. There's guys like yourself, Lawrence, Canopy, the list goes on. Aspect, the boy Wonder. We saw him take the stage with Living Legends, Cunning Linguist, Souls of Mischief, like just this last week. That's unheard of in this town.
Was that last week?
That was on Tuesday. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought that was a Saturday. Good for him.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
It's amazing. Like the scene is popping off, and it hasn't ever been a more exciting time to be a part of it. So I truly feel grateful just to play a small role in it as a radio personality, because it's a dream come true. This is exactly what I would have hoped and wanted for everybody here. Even back, when it wasn't necessarily easy to be a hip hop head in Boise, Idaho.
Right, because of styles and culture.
Styles, culture, and just isolation, right? Yeah,
for sure. I know I had that for a while where, man, I was in school, and it's not best, but I mean, like listening to Eminem, even it wasn't his best music. It still was like, well, this is the best guy that we have to look at, besides, this is right before like T-Pap. And like, this is also when Logic was coming out. It was like, this is mixtape era. This is like Joey Badass, Chance, Mac. Mac's already had like Fine Feminine at this point, if I'm right, or 2 years, whatever. Rodeo was coming out. Like all this time building up to that. Then now I'm here being like, oh, I can now all these skills that I developed over time. And it's really beautiful to have the ability now to see everything and being like, wow, it's just all going to grow.
100%.
And it's not going to stop. I think the only thing that might stop it is, I think it's not self-preservation. It's just that you got to do it. You just got to do it.
Right.
It's not always going to be easy.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
And I think you know that because you were saying, because you're from Cuba, right?
Correct. Yeah. I'm first generation American. So my father made it over. Yeah.
Nice.
Luckily, fortunately, yes, in the early 70s.
Really?
But I was first generation American. My brother as well, born here in the States. Yeah.
So wait, so you guys, from Cuba to here?
No, actually, from Cuba to Florida, which is a place where a lot of Cubans land.
Yeah.
And then they went straight to New York City. So my father went from, standing in bread lines in 1960s era Cuba
during Castro.
During
heavy
Castro and during
Cuban Missile
Crisis, yeah, exactly. And then straight into like the streets of New York. So he grew up there. He is a New Yorker, to the bone type thing.
Love that.
And they have a big Cuban community up there as well.
Oh, yeah.
And then so he ended up getting involved with the military. He got stationed in Altus, Oklahoma, which is where he met my mother, who had family ties here. And then just through the shaking of, a military lifestyle where you're moving around and everything, we eventually ended up here as well. Yeah.
Nice.
So that's kind of something funny too, because when I would split my time a little bit between here and some family in Florida, speaking back to what you were just saying a moment ago, there were tracks that I would hear coming out on the radio down there.
Yeah.
And then we'd come back for the school year here in Idaho, and you wouldn't hear those tracks again for another 6 months.
Right.
That's how slow information moved at the time back then.
Without a doubt, and even like, it is so much better now to do whatever you want. And it's much more easy to get distracted. That's obvious.
Mm-hmm.
But it's so much easier to do whatever you want. It's just you got to promote it.
Right.
Right? Because like I know for me, like when I go out and sell watches, it's only as good as I want to make it.
Mm.
I mean, it's always. I mean, someone could buy it, cool, but if I'm not being attentive, communicating, going out and just like promoting it, it's not going to go anywhere.
Sure.
And I know, like looking back as a kid, like I remember having my flip phone. I had a flip phone and I had a slide phone. And I don't think any of us really imagined. Maybe some people. I didn't imagine it, having a phone that can record.
Right.
I can live stream. I can make music. I can make money on. I can technically drive my car with that. I can pretty much do most things. You could technically probably do a surgery with that.
That's insane. Yeah.
It's like, hey, what are you gonna do? You gotta make 10,000 on Tetris, and you're set. Open heart surgery.
Right.
And
yeah.
it's
remote
just,
me in.
Yeah, no, for real. And it's like how you're saying, it was like, not only that, it's more locked in. Like if you're not doing this in music, can't do it. Doesn't matter. It doesn't go with the agenda,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so like breakout artists, like I say, Eminem or like Tupac, which Tupac also then got arrested during that album being #1 while in jail, having stuff like that. But it wasn't like all of them. Like Big L wasn't popular until way later.
Right.
New York legend,
R.I.P.,
but not yeah. Or MF Doom. MF Doom wasn't cool to everybody until, honestly, I would say until like I knew people that listened to him, but didn't like go through his catalog. They knew Doomsday,
Sure.
and they knew all caps. They knew like the memes of it.
Right.
And Mad Villainy and like this is an OG album, but they don't like explore the whole thing.
Right.
And then afterwards now now it's that you can then go to there, but then also if you want to just listen to Ed Sheeran and Daft Punk and Bad Bunny, you can do that. You can stay in that bubble.
Right.
And that's really cool that you have. And you can make that a niche. And that's your own niche, that's your own universe and your own space and your own personal brand with that.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yes, I agree. In fact, that's almost the double-edged sword of technology is that you do have access to everything, but you only have so many hours in the day as well.
Yeah.
And so I often think about this because especially now that everything's feeding into an algorithm, and that algorithm's becoming an echo chamber for the content that's being delivered to you. If you're not a crate digger by nature, if you're not someone willing to sift through the noise,
Might be stuck on Family Guy for a while.
exactly, you're gonna get the same thing over and over because I mean, as far as a system, it's delivering on its promises. It's giving you exactly what you asked for.
Yep.
But so it could be a good thing, it could be a bad thing because there is too much internet these days, so much to where the internet that you experience and the internet that I experience and the internet that person X, Y, and Z experiences are all separate internets.
Yeah, and it's weird that it's everything that you asked for. It's exactly what you asked for. And it could be, I'll say that it could be wasting your time or it could be benefiting your time.
Right.
And it just depends on how you look at that and what you consider as beneficial and wasting.
Right. In fact, I often walk the interwebs completely anonymously or as best as I can, simply for that kind of what I said before, that surprise factor.
Yeah.
Where if it knows what I want, I'm never going to get that something fresh that catches me, and maybe I don't even know I want it yet.
Yeah.
Right. And it's when I hear it that I'm like, oh,
that's crazy.
That's funky.
I need that right now.
That's fresh. That's new.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of going back to being of the generation I am and watching network television, which was at the time that was our source of culture,
Family Unit, Goofy Dad.
Everybody gather around and whatever was being broadcast was what you got. You had the choice of a few channels, but that was it. It was very finite.
There wasn't anything past that.
Right. And every now and then you just flip it on and there would be something you had no idea what it was ever before. You may never even see it again. But for, that half hour, that hour, you were like mind blown. What is this? And it becomes a gateway, a cultural gateway to get its hooks in you to those who are paying attention.
That's how I feel about Adult Swim. It's probably the only, maybe not the only one, but the major, honestly, now I'm thinking about it. It's probably the most open to artists channel that I can think of off the top of my head.
Right.
Because their Adult Swim logo is made by their TV show characters of their network, but it's made by different artists. It's always different. It's never one thing.
Right.
They might have things that are similar for like YouTube sense, but it's always like the same. It's never the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
I've never looked at Adult Swim and be like, oh, I've seen that already.
Right.
I've never seen that. I just never have.
They're great. They're great at being open to fostering young talent.
Exactly.
And why necessarily make rules for yourself? Like the ultimate fun would just be throw each and every rule that ever might cross your mind out the window.
Yep.
And go from there. That's something we definitely try to embrace on Tree City 1 AM. We've talked about it in private a little bit before, where every week is meant to be crazy, absurd, maybe even diametrically opposed to the week that came before it, on principle. Yeah. We will destroy our own stuff on the principle of just seeing what happens when we do.
Yeah, that's what I've been feeling with the music. And you like the album, and I appreciate everyone does. I don't like that album. As it is like whatever. Been a Minute's a bad song where I didn't sing good. And I'm glad I got it out though, because I needed to get that out as a therapy thing.
Right.
And I know doing stuff like this, for one, you opening up as a person for people that are listening to the radio station, get to know the person that is Adam Amoeba, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And get to know DJ Wrinkle or get to know me or Storm, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter who it is, but just to know like who we are. And what you're saying with, breaking the norm, like that song, please don't compare me or don't compare. I haven't decided on a title yet. I think
that's how fresh it is.
I don't even know, because it's just, I'm thinking of just calling it XXX Victor.
Oh, okay.
Because there's some it doesn't have to be anything.
Right.
It's just, that's what came to my mind when I heard it. But it doesn't sound like anything else I'm doing. It has nothing to do with the club songs that I made or that whole low-key vibe I went on that one album.
Right.
It's literally its own thing, and it'll do with nothing else.
I like that.
And it just doesn't talk like I am on these other songs. Maybe in some contexts, sure, but it's a completely different instrumental. It's a different type of, it's trap. It's trap and like drill. Like low, or more trap, I should say. And it's just doing something different and breaking the norm of what you would usually do in a routine, to then just, wow, that feels fresh. I like this. I'm going to keep going with this now.
Mm-hmm.
But then breaking it up again maybe later.
Well, and I think that's one thing that may also be evident to listeners who aren't involved in the creation of something as well.
Yeah.
Is because one thing I do really dig about your music is it seems like a cohesive whole. It seems like there is a thread running through all of them, as different as each track is. But that's the thing.
What do you feel is the thread? I've never thought of this.
You, brother. You're the thread.
Oh, bro, that's what's
your
up.
Creative energy, my man.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. So you're not going to see that, but the listener, we hear that.
I've never heard that take. That kind of brings me to a lot of ideas of music now. That's kind of wild.
And you do it at the speed of hip hop, man. That's another thing I love about
that's crazy too.
Everybody. You dropped some names earlier, and like everybody, like Storm, man, DJ Winkle, Andy O, anybody who's going that hard in a scene as young and fresh and energetic and just turned up as the Boise scene right now. Anybody willing to throw down is bringing something completely different than the next guy, yourself included, right?
Thank you.
It's and that's so much more fun than maybe what might be happening in a more established scene,
West Coast or New York,
right? Where like I
Chicago,
said, they've built themselves into a box a little bit, right? Because they have a sound. We don't have a sound. We get to invent the Boise sound right here, right now.
I think this culture, because we have events like Tree Fort, which is in my head, I always take it as being weird.
Mm-hmm.
And weird is whatever you make it. It's not weird, because weird is not normal. And normal's to be what is like in the box.
Right.
And there's look at people that are like I'm wearing this and I'm wearing Crocs.
Right.
Like I'm just like
drip. You got drip, man.
But it's drip to where it's like confidence.
Right.
And as long as there's confidence and just knowing that I'm gonna be who I am,
Right.
Because I know I feel really good when I'm here. And even like, and it kind of goes, then it goes back to sometimes though, of like, I feel uncomfortable, but I know this is a good thing to feel because then I can be putting myself somewhere better.
100%. You're
know
growing.
I mean?
It's the feeling of growth.
You're evolving too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. In fact, that's one reason I took on the moniker of your friendly neighborhood wolfman in everything that I do, because I am constantly going through a transformation. Sometimes it might be ugly. Yeah. Right. Sometimes it might hurt. But it's growth and evolution nonetheless. And love that. I am 100% a different creature today than I was even a few short years ago when I started this journey, right? And I might even argue this journey was already going long before that, right? Because
it led up to this point,
right? I've been hitting personal watershed moments in my timeline at such a rapidity as of late, simply through applying myself and just leading with the heart, doing it out of a place of love rather than fear. We all have been the guy in the crowd looking up and, at someone on stage. I did it with Earthlings Entertainment, looking up at these guys and looking up to these guys long before we were ready personally. Yeah. And everyone experiences that. Even the big dogs experience that because they're still looking at someone else, right? Yeah. And so it's a different process. It's a different way of growing, and it's a different way of living. It's a different lifestyle when an individual, you're very good at this, goes out and gets what they want, and they work and they do it for the love.
I think sometimes too that I don't know if it was you that I think it was you that told me this. It was going with all this and getting that hunger and going out for it. Might have been Ty Lopez. I'm thinking of you though. I'm thinking of you, Ty Lopez, and Gary Vee, where it was you're going into this cycle that you can go get it, but sometimes that cycle could lead you to the same thing that you've like got you sometimes into a bad point. The risk-taking factor, let's say, right? Because I think people, this is kind of a different topic. I think people confuse generational curses with just genetic habits. So what I say is that my great-grandma was a gambler, and when we, loteria?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
So we would get money on our birthdays, like $20. She's like, you want to win some more? I've never won. But I got it from that. Then my grandma always gambled, and she always talked about it. And then my dad always gambled, and he did that, had his life, right? And I got a ton of siblings because of him. And then I gamble, but I don't gamble in the sense of like, I'll play like $1 now. I don't play, I play it, I can't go any higher because it'll get bad. It has been bad. I've lost a lot of money gambling, but I know it's that there's not a sense of risk if I had it all. If I just had $1 billion, I would waste it. I would gamble it. Right. Because I know it's the risk aversion, risk evasion.
Aversion, yeah.
And it's just knowing that that's there. And I think sometimes that we got to realize that people they are like traumas, genetic traumas. I think that's what they really mean. I think that's what they're trying to say. Like it's the trauma of that this one person was abused like this, so you kind of have this tendency to do this thing, right? Right. So they were hit at that time, so they always kind of do that. And then as they get older, they then, let's say, have a kid, and that kid has that tendency kind of already built into them. And that also then goes into the gambling thing, and that's also built into them.
Right.
I'm saying it as me as an example, but I'm just saying I think everyone has something, but then they have gifts with that. So I think it's just these things you got to recognize that, like how we're saying, your dad did music and was involved with radio. My dad did music and did radio in the Chicano scene, like with Little Cuete, with Little Moco, with Little Rob, like all the Bretton Woods. Like my dad was involved with that scene. And just that, the love of music. I've never not heard good music with my dad. I've never not heard good music with my mom. I've never not heard beautiful singing from my sister, my grandma, my grandpa. I never not went to quinceañeras and all these things. And it just is like, well, I'm already doing it. Right. It's kind of weird if I didn't do it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, and also what you're describing there is an objectivity and a reflective process to be able to recognize patterns and recognize, or you could use, the word curse or habit, but they're kind of one and the same. If you approach them from an objective standpoint, you can truly be truthful with yourself on which ones to lean into and embrace and which ones to abandon.
Focus on.
Exactly.
And what you focus on is you're always making a pattern. You're always practicing. I was telling these kids, I'm like, because some of them do wrestling too, and I'm very much an advocate for wrestling just till I die. It's such a great sport. It could kill you mentally. It could really drain you too with your body, like cutting weight. So don't cut weight if you don't have to. It's bad. I cut 25 pounds in less than a month. I probably did it in like 3.5 weeks. But I was working out 6 days a week, 3 hours a day. And there was I had to cut the last bit of weight and I didn't eat for 3 days.
Wow.
Like I remember cutting 5-6 pounds in a few hours. Like I've done it.
That's harsh, man.
And like now I'm 190. I got to cut down to 60, but I'm going to do that in a couple months, which is just low calorie days, fasting till the night, eat, go to sleep.
Yeah.
Which is another thing. And then just hydrating more because you're not really hungry. Most times you're usually thirsty. But what I say to these kids about discipline is that you got to, in practicing, is that whatever you're doing today is going to lead into tomorrow because you're already doing it that day. And then that's where you're putting yourself into discipline of. So if you're drinking every day, you're putting yourself into the discipline of drinking every day.
Right.
If you're writing every day, you're putting yourself in the discipline of writing every day. And that's your focus and what you want to put your tasks on. And wherever and then where you're looking at TikTok, where you're putting on your Instagram, what you're doing on your phone. Like if you're doing porn, if you're watching that, if you're watching self-help books or reading self-help books, if you're learning about frequency and like keys and stuff like that, it's whatever you're doing is then going to put you in that state of mind, regardless of how you actually think. Because that is going to be your subconscious thought.
Right. And well, I mean, and it's a self-fulfilling prophecy because what are you putting your energy into? You like, everyone has a ceiling. Everyone has a daily cap, weekly cap, monthly cap. Everybody needs a little downtime here and there. So, and life is short. So how are you going to live yours? What are you going to put your energy into? And it's kind of back to that. You get what you get out of it, what you put into it. Right. And it's funny you bring up athletics as an analog, because I truly feel like one of my major training grounds, just for the person who I grew up to become, was my high school football career. And now a lot of guys say that. A lot of guys have this kind of complex, like Uncle Rico, I could throw football over the
I would have won state if I give the ball.
We would have taken state. Now shout out to Bridges once again, because him and I actually did take state our senior year. So we got that bragging point, But
shout out Uncle Rico.
But yeah, exactly. But what it really did was what you're saying, that discipline. At the time, I was 25, 35 pounds heavier than I am now. Solid muscle. I looked like a tree trunk. And it was because while other kids were living a more youthful life and had summers to themselves, and they were out doing the thing, going on dates, like getting their first cars and everything.
Yeah.
I was working out twice a day, 6 days a week for that entire 4 years, in which was only a window of a 10-year football career. That was my goal. I started when I was 7 years old in flag football, and I did the math early on, and I realized I could truly accomplish something. And when other people were quitting and dropping out, because, if it were easy, everyone would do it, right? Yep. I stuck with it when it wasn't popular, when I was going home, when I was crying at night. I skipped a grade academically, so I was already smaller and younger than everybody. And then I moved up to varsity at sophomore year. So there were a good 2.5 years of me just getting my shit busted in, just 100% of the time by dudes that were, sometimes 3 years older than me, grown men, 18-year-old, the big dudes, right? And it truly, it leads you to define yourself by how you respond to that. Are you going to get burned by the fire, or are you going to be born of the flames?
Yep.
Right. And so it's interesting that there is such a parallel to something like hip hop music and the hustle, the grind, what you do working for yourself. There's a mentality. I think it's David Goggins. Every time he goes for a run,
Yeah.
he still hates every second of it while he's tying his shoes.
Yeah.
Right.
Stay hard.
Yeah, exactly. And if you just accept when you wake up, if you just accept what you're going to do, and you just accept that as a reality before you've even done it,
Yeah.
right? Then the steps that lead up to it, like I said, werewolf transformation, they may be crummy in the meantime. They may hurt, they may make you a little ugly, and you're going to show some wear and tear along the way.
Yep.
But in the end, you're going to be a completely different animal. One of my favorite figures in literature has a quote that says, "Find what you love and let it kill you."
Yep.
Yeah, that's Bukowski. And he's a guy that didn't see success until later in life. And by that point, he was already a gutter drunk, and he was working, like just a menial job at a post office. It was exactly all of the dark side of what we call the American dream, where it's just punching in, punching out, going home and drinking yourself to sleep every night. Yeah. But he became one of the most brilliant poetry and prose writers of the 20th century. And it's through his self-reflections that it might be a destructive form of creation that you're taking part in, and what might ultimately be destroyed is yourself.
Right.
But kind of like I said before, if I consider my mantra to proceed from a place of love rather than fear. Mm-hmm. In fact, if you ever see me when I'm not in a hoodie, I have fear and love tatted on the fronts of my arms, and that's because I can choose right or left. Right, I can choose my path. Every decision of every single day, every moment, I can choose. And when it does come down to times like the pandemic, or times I don't necessarily want to get up, or times that maybe I'm feeling a little under the weather, or I just want to just bash on someone, snip at them, be mean to somebody, right? Yeah. That's coming from a place of fear. That's coming from, that's more about me than it is about them, right?
Right.
And so it's an easy reminder to keep you on course when maybe you don't otherwise have an objective lens on something. You can just always see the black and white divide, and just make sure you do it from the heart.
Yeah. I love that. Well, Adam, thank you.
Oh, thank you, my man.
It, bro.
Yeah, no, I love you, bro. You're one of my favorite people. I say that all the time.
Bro, you are too. And I love you so much, and I appreciate the love that you give, the words of inspiration, and everything else.
100%, man. My pleasure.
So, anything you want to mention? Radio Boise, your Instagram page, anything like that?
Oh, yeah. Anybody who's interested, anybody who vibes with us, it's not always an easy thing to vibe with. We're very original, so if you know, you know.
Yeah.
If you dig it, you're welcome. We're all family at Tree City 1 a.m. So we're late night Saturday nights, technically the first show of Sunday morning, like I said, 1 a.m. Yeah. You can check us out online on Insta at Tree City Radio. Mm-hmm. And like I said, stay tuned, because there's more to come. More to come in the near future.
Cool. Thank you, guys.
Oh, yeah. Sure thing, my man.
Thank you.
It was fun.
That's it. Good 40 minutes.